Peace, love, and light, family. Peace, love, and light. And welcome back to Moments with Milah. Welcome back. Thank you all so much for taking these next few moments to spend with me. But most importantly, thank you for just dedicating this time to your overall health and wellness. And as we know, wellness involves more than just the physical exercise. It also involves, our mental well-being, our spiritual well-being as well. And I know many may have seen the title and thought, what now? What now, Sis Milah? What you about to talk about? What is it? What is it? Listen, it's nothing negative in that sense that some may think who have their own opinions, and that is okay because we're all entitled to that, right? Anything that I share with my sisters, brothers as well, is from a space of deep love. It's never hate for myself. It's never hate for the black man, the black woman. It's never hate, period. It's all deep love. In my 43 years of living at this point, I have experienced quite a bit, as most of us have. So again, when I share, it is really from that space. This is kind of, I won't say it's a heavy one, but I read a comment this morning, after I get up, as we all do. Well, first I drink my water. I definitely drink my room temperature water when I first wake up to get my body hydrated and lubricated and ready to do the things that I need to do. Took a few minutes of some deep breathing, and then I reached over and grabbed my phone. Yeah, that's what I did, right? So I grabbed my phone, and you know how these algorithms are. If you watch something, then it starts to suggest things to you. So I was scrolling, and I came up on a comment. It was a video. I forget the creator's name, but I saved the comment. I should have. Anyway, regardless of that, it wasn't the creator who spoke this. This was a person on the feed who commented. And I'm going to just read this comment to you before I get started. And keep that in mind. Black women don't smile. So, and just to give you a little bit of background, it was involving a Caucasian man, calling into a show and basically speaking on, he was kind of placating to what the woman wanted to hear, I'll be honest with you, in regard to blaming the black man for black women being single mothers, etc., right? As if, it's all one or the other's fault. And I want to get into that, but let me read this comment first because there was a lot that I had to unpack for myself reading this. Felt a lot of sympathy for the sister, but I also, it took me back to some things that I want to discuss in just a moment. So let me read the comment. The comment says, I'm happy this man called it with regard to speaking on black men being the reason that there are so many black women who are single mothers, right? I don't get into the blame game, but I want to read this comment. I am happy that this man called it. Listening to someone finally speak positively about black women was really refreshing. When you constantly hear negative things about black women, it becomes heavy, and while you know it's not true, it can be discouraging. I'm a single mother. When I found out I was pregnant, I went back to college and got my degree. My son's father only became hostile and told me I wasn't better than him just because I got a degree. It seemed like the more success I strived for, the angrier he became and the less he wanted to be responsible. To hear someone on the outside say we are doing a good job, y'all know me, you know that I'm bothered by that already. All right, say we are doing a good job and we are doing our best with what we have honestly made me feel better. I tried being submissive even though I was carrying everything on my back. But at the end of the day, many don't want submission. They want to break you and keep you in the ditch that they dug. If they aren't doing good, she's speaking of black men when she says they. If they aren't doing good, they want you down there suffering with them so they can blame you for all of their shortcomings. It's really sad. All I ever wanted was to have a career, be a mother, and a wife. As a black woman, becoming a wife is far too difficult and heartbreaking. Considering how easy it is for white women to find a husband, I can't tell you how many co-workers got engaged and married while I suffered through struggle love. It's a bitter pill to swallow. Okay. I'm going to choose my words very carefully. And I want to start with this. It's really disheartening to read that, and I'm not sure how old that the sister is, but to hear her say, it really feels good to have validation from a man of another race to tell me that I'm doing this right, that I did all the right things, right? Sisters, we choose the men that we have children by. We choose the men that we have children by. So this narrative of completely blaming black men for your choices, right? For your choices. And I understand that things happen within relationships. You get pregnant, right? These things happen. I'm not saying it's just your choice. The man could have wore protection, or he couldn't have, or whatever, happened with that. But you both made a choice. But either way, in order to bring that child into the world, it was your choice. A man cannot have a baby. That's number one. So whether, however the situation happened, it is your choice. So she goes on to say, it's very heartbreaking. There were other sisters who commented as well, and some were saying that it's hard for them to smile. When they see black men on the street, it's hard for them to speak. There were some other sisters, black women who were more divestors because they just decided they don't want to date black men anymore. Black men aren't worthy of being committed to, submitting to. They just aren't worthy, right? So you read the comment. Well, you heard me read the comment to you. And she ended it with saying that, she was very discouraged with how many of her white co-workers ended up being married, wives, having children, and so forth and so on. This goes back a lot to, of course, how we're raised. Who are we to blame? If we're going to blame somebody, let's think about that for a minute, sisters. A lot of black women, especially in my generation, were raised to be independent. We're raised with the mindset of, I don't need a man. I can do everything by myself. Or if you get a man, he needs to make this kind of money. He needs to be, I'm guilty of this myself. He needs to be this height. Okay, I tell the truth. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. It's something I'm not going to do. He needs to be this height. He needs to look this way. His hair needs to be this texture. His skin complexion. Like, it was so many superficial, for the most part, criteria that we placed on the men that we're choosing to be the fathers of our children, right? I don't know what her decision making was, but apparently, she got pregnant, decided to go back to school. She wanted to better herself. That's what she felt, which is what happens with a lot of sisters, right? A lot of times women of other races, from the time they're little girls, they're raised to be wives. That is their mentality. So they're raised to be more cooperative. They're raised to not think in terms of being independent. They're raised of being able to submit to their man and to his leadership, and for him to have his place in the household, right? They're not raised necessarily to look at marriage as love. See, a lot of times, sisters, when we look at the man we want to be with, like I said, it's those superficial characteristics. He looks good. He makes me feel good. Well, does making you feel good make him a good father? Is there anything beyond that makes him a good father? And I understand what the sister is saying. After everything that she's went through, she doesn't want to necessarily blame the black man. But I go back to that very middle statement that she made, which was, it feels good to hear validation from an outside source. So do black women only smile when we hear that we're doing good from someone other than the black man? Because many black women can't even listen to other black women, right? This is true. So, and I'm speaking from the heart. This is not, I didn't write anything down. This is just kind of generally how I talk. If I'm speaking with my king, if I'm speaking with my sisters, this is how we talk. But I wanted to share this because, again, it just woke up so it woke up something in me. I shouldn't even say that. It didn't wake up something in me because it's always been there. But the situation with Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, and how everybody's talking about that, and still, and I think, again, we're going to be talking about that for a long time. Not just specifically them, but the relationship between the black women, the black man, the black woman, and how it greatly impacts our overall health and wellness, and how we function in the society because of how we see each other. So I'm kind of all over the place with this because I have so many emotions right now, but I'm trying to keep everything in check in that regard, because I don't want to say anything that a sister might find offensive, even though I'm not meaning to be offensive. And that's another thing. We, sisters, I'll include myself in that, even though I don't have an issue with it, but I am a black woman, seem to have problems with people correcting us or accepting criticism. Even if it's constructive criticism, we'll argue that because it's like this need to want to be right. You know, we're very defensive in nature, and I don't know why that is. And if we go back to what she said, she's looking around about, you know, and seeing how so many of her sisters, not her sisters, her co-workers who were white ended up married earlier and all these things. You know, I wonder if they were that defensive. You know, were they that argumentative with their men? Did they go against everything that he wanted to do? You know, or were they able to get on board with his plan and make it even better? You know, these are questions that we have to ask ourselves and be accountable for where we're lacking. Are we doing everything that we need to do as black women to be wise? Are we? I mean, that is a serious question. Are we doing everything we need as black women to truly be sisters? So going not even just from this relationship, the sisterhood element for black women, we suffer in that area. Because again, we can't listen to each other. It's so hard for a sister to pull one aside and say, you know what, I think what you did in that situation was wrong. I don't know exactly what you should have did, but I can offer a suggestion as to how I might have handled it. Oh, you don't tell me what to do. You can't say, I'm not saying this is all sisters, so let's not go there. I'm not saying it's all sisters, but we know, let's be honest, the majority, this happens. Or we think that we own a version of the truth. What do you hear all the time? Well, I own my truth. Well, my side, my truth. There is no version of the truth. The truth is the truth, is the truth, is the truth. There's no my truth. There's no your truth. It is the truth. Why is it so difficult to accept that? And think about it. If you can't accept the truth, you can't get along, you can't be corrected in any way. I'll get into health and wellness in just a second as far as your physicality. But you can't be told anything, right? So why would you smile? What do you have to smile about? Are you pleased with the outcomes that we're having? With regard to marriage and family, are we pleased with the outcome? Do we have reason to smile? Are we taking away our own reasons to smile? Are we hindering our reasons to smile? You know, those are real questions. So, I didn't want to make this too long, but I seriously want us to think about that, sisters. I seriously want us to think about what can we do? What's our role? Seriously, what's our role in healing the relationship between the black man and black woman? Is it talking to people outside of our race to get feedback, to make us feel good for the things that we do that aren't in order? Because let's be honest, black women, we are, a lot of the times we're out of order. And I'm not even going to say it's, I'm not going to do the blame thing and say it's his fault, it's our fault. It's my fault, it's his fault, it's our fault. Black men don't make single mothers. Black women make single mothers. It's the truth. It's hard. And that's why she said in the end, it's a bitter pill to swallow. It is. Truth is hard. It's hard, but it's necessary. Therapy for us is necessary. As I shared in the last video with my king, trauma is passed down from generations to generation to generation. You know, some of it we're just born with. You know how when our little girls come out and they're sassy and like, oh, she's an old soul. Or our little boys too, they have their little ways. Oh, it's a little old man, grown man, and a little body. There's a lot of truth to that. We are old souls. We are. But it doesn't mean we can't learn a new thing. Because the old isn't working. It's not working, sisters. It's not working, brothers. You know? And then there comes a time where you have to truly separate what you see online and what you see in real life. You know, I watch some shows sometimes, and then black women and black men are arguing with each other and debating, and you don't do this and you don't do that. But in real life, my experience is different. It's truly different. I do look brothers in the eye when I'm passing by. I used to not do it for a long time. That's another story that I may have to share with you all one day. But I used to would not look men in the eye because I just would. Let me go ahead and tell you because it sounds crazy. But when I was a little girl, when I was a teenager, I was at a friend's house, and I was about 14. And one of her older, I think it was her uncle or older cousins, he made a comment to me. He said, you know, I'm 14, right? I'm standing on the balcony just looking out. He said, oh, you got some pretty bedroom eyes. I thought it meant I had like a lazy eye. I'm 14. I didn't know what that was, right? So I went home and told my father, rest his soul. I told him, I said, you know, this man said I had bedroom eyes. You know, like, my dad was like, what? Went back over there, him and his homie, and they dog walked the brother. You know what that means, right? I don't know what I can say and what I can't say. But they beat him, right? They beat him senseless. And here I am, 14, thinking I just caused this man to get beat because I shouldn't have looked at him. So for a long time, I would walk around and I'd talk to people and I'd be like, well, don't look at him, you know? Anyway, again, trauma. That was trauma. And I carried it for a very, very long time. But that's neither here nor there. But I do. When I see my brothers out, I speak. How you doing, brother? How you doing? I'm on the phone having a conversation. Sometimes they'll stop. I mean, if it's something that I feel that it disrespects my king, then I don't engage in a conversation. But I've had brothers that say, you know what, just thank you for talking to me. Thank you for not assuming I was trying to hit on you. Thank you for just listening. Those little steps, sisters, are part of our healing. Treating each other like we want to be treated in truth. That's part of our healing. Seeing our men just as we want them to see us. That's part of our healing. Being able to listen is part of our healing. You know, getting an understanding for balance and order within a relationship. You know, and some people get mad at me and say, oh girl, what is wrong with you? But guess what? We do have a place. We have a place, sisters. We have a role. Men have a place too. And when we operate in order, we can both do those roles and perform them successfully, and there wouldn't be so many single parent homes, right? Because there are single fathers too. I know some excellent single fathers who are holding it down. So shout out to them. I don't want to, you know, make it seem like that. And you might say, well, did they choose to be single fathers? Yeah, they did. Yeah, it's called accountability. Men don't have as difficult of a time as that as we do, sisters. We have a difficult time with accountability. It's the truth. We do, and y'all know it. You know, shoot me, say what you know. Well, don't shoot me. I don't mean that literally, you two. Not shoot me, but you know what I'm saying, like the messenger, you know, whatever. I'm gonna just stop because I'm not a person who necessarily does these talks, but I do like to on the channel, you know, talk about topics that relate to our wellness, and we know our relationship and how we relate to each other is really big in that regard. So a final point that I wanted to make. And I was looking at that sister's comment. Y'all, I read it and I felt so much sadness, but I'm going to leave that there. I read it and you all can digest it. And like I said, definitely leave some comments. I want to build on this because there are some parts in that I have some more things that I wanted to discuss. I'm going to do some lives soon. We actually have some interactive conversations in this regard. I'm really looking forward to that because I love my sisters. I love me. I love me. And you know, it starts there. getting to the smile. I have the one thing I'm going to say, but getting to that smile, and Black women smiling, it starts with loving yourself first. Like truly, truly loving yourself. I shared a short that basically talked about starting the lock journey, and a sister let me know that she wanted it, but she didn't want to go through that ugly phase. And I don't believe there is an ugly phase. I don't. And that short is on the channel. Yeah, it's on the channel. It's one of the short feeds, and you can listen to that if you want to. But there is no ugly phase. And how do we say that we truly love ourselves when we can't even look at ourselves as we are and say, wow, you're beautiful, Milah. Wow, you're beautiful, Brenda. You're beautiful, Natalie. You're beautiful, Tawana. I'm just thinking of some names that are names, y'all. Don't play with me, right? But you're beautiful just as you are. When you wake up in the morning, do you feel beautiful? You know? I'm not a person who bashes makeup. I don't wear it personally, and trust me, I have a lot of flaws I could probably cover all day long, but they're mine, and it's me, and I'm okay with that. I'm confident in my skin. You know, as flawed as it may be, it's me. It's me. So, at any rate, self-love, self-care. I'm gonna get back to my thing. I haven't lost it. I'm just choosing my words. Self-care, that means taking care of yourself physically, sisters. Y'all know that we're still leading in clinical obesity. It hasn't changed. Now I can say the sisters in my group, we're getting some good results, and y'all keep me motivated. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, motivation is one thing, but you gotta be consistent. I'm consistent, that's for sure. I treat myself, but I'm very consistent with my health and my wellness. I'm very consistent with that. It matters to me, you know, because it matters that I'm here for my children, and one day, you know, if I'm blessed with grandchildren, I want to be here and active with them as well. Like, it matters to me. And I just want a good quality of life. You know, I want to feel good when I take my clothes off. You know, seriously, let's just be real. You know, I want to feel good with my clothes on. You know, so those are things that we have to work on. It has to matter to us. And so that's something that when that isn't in order, it's hard to smile, right? It's hard to look in that mirror and smile when you gotta hide it, when you gotta Spanx it out and waist train it out and wrap it up and tuck it and nip, right? It's hard. It's hard to smile. But then again, we go back to being accountable and doing the work. If you know it's hard to smile because you don't like what you see, fix it. Fix it, sisters. You have the power. You know you're powerful. And for those who say you're strong women, get your strong butt in that gym. Okay? All right, but back to what I was saying, and pretty much a final point, because a lot of the other comments that I read on the thread were very, well, there was a lot of blaming going on. Everything was the Black man, and if I was with a white man, a lot of divestors were in there. Yeah, you know, if you get with these other races of men, you won't have these problems, and this is that, and they teach you how to do this, and it was nothing to do with love, care, building, knowing who you are as a woman. It was all, every woman who was talking about being with a man outside of their race, Black women, it was all monetary based, which is crazy. It was all leisure based. It's crazy. You know, what does that have to do with truly building a family? Being protected, being safe, being with a man that knows you, you know, that knows your history, that knows your DNA, you know. Do what you want, but I love my man. I love our men. I love our brothers. No, they're not perfect. Absolutely not. Which segues into my final thing. I share, you know, my king. I share pictures of us. That's not something I would normally do, but I do because I love him dearly. I highly, highly respect him. I value him. I honor him. His dignity means a lot to me. It means a whole lot to me. And yes, he is a Black man. And when the sister ended and she said, seeing all these things is a bitter pill to swallow. I've been with a man before him who is, let's just say, one of the, if there was a top 5 worst, he's in there, right? In other words, I've been in a situation with a man who wasn't a man. He was a male. He was Black as well. He was definitely a male, you know, and I'm not going to expose too much of that situation, but it was a terrible, horrible, one of the worst experiences of my life, one of the 2 worst experiences of my life, right? went through so much trauma that I wouldn't even begin to know how to share it. And yes, he was a black man. My current king's a black man. Do I hate black men? Absolutely not. You know why? Because he was one man. It's hard to smile when you blame all men for what one man does. Excuse me, he was one male. Okay? Right? See, I know what a man is. I have a man. I've experienced a man. I've had men in my life as I grew up, so I know I have that background knowledge. I can say that. Because I have a problem when sisters say, he ain't a real man. I need a real... Because we're not men. But when you've been exposed to men and you've seen a man in action, and you've seen men in action, not a man. You've seen men, in action, you know what a man is. And I knew what a man was. But you got to think about this too, sisters. And I'm not taking accountability away from myself, but sometimes women do it too. But men can wear a mask. When you give out too much information, when you smile too freely sometimes, they can play on that. They can become everything they think you want it to be, but eventually they can't because it's not who they are. That mask comes off, right? So I'll leave you all with this. Do those things to find your smile, sister. Find your authentic smile by loving your authentic self first. Taking care of your health. Start being more accountable. Stop listening to these negative, bitter people, men and women, because there are a lot of brothers, believe it or not, who down other brothers. They call them simps, right? Who down other brothers, who cheer toxic women on, black women on, when they're, on their rants against black men. They're like, yeah, I will never understand that. Because I don't care how bad of a situation I'm in, I'm never going to join this group of black women saying all black men are bad. That is a lie. That is a lie. All black men are not bad. You're choosing poorly. You're choosing poorly. Remember, single mothers are single mothers because they choose to be. Single fathers are single fathers because they choose to be. It's never too late, family. It's never too late to think about those things that we need to do to get ourselves in order, to live in order, to build in order. It's not too late. But can we accept accountability? Can we start to have real conversations and not argue with each other and truly just listen to each other? Can the black man help you find your smile? Yeah. But first it's on you, sis. It's on you. And I guarantee you, when you find your smile and you walk around in this world wearing your smile, you'll attract the right things to you. Not just a relationship with a man. You'll attract the right energies as far as your career, your finances. Your children will receive you differently. So do black women smile? Yes, we do. And we do it often. But we should do it more, because our smiles are very, very beautiful and so very powerful, even more than we know. A smile from a black woman can change the room, can change the universe, can start a war, can end a war. Find your smile, sister. All right. I'm going to end there. And I know we didn't talk too much about wellness, but it is true. Remember, if you remember nothing else, in addition to finding your smile, nothing, absolutely nothing tastes as good as being healthy.